Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to welcome you to this session, and we're going to discuss something which is very important in academia, and this is about crafting a winning research proposal. This has been a big challenge and a big problem, not only to students, not only to undergraduate students, postgraduates, and even people who are professionals in the market on how they can draft a very good proposal, whether for looking for the funds or for anything. So today we are going to dive into this topic, and we are going to go through 14 qualities of a winning research proposal that will stand out to be very specific, to be unique, and to be compelling, that your supervisor will not have any question about it. So welcome. Welcome back. So let's start by understanding what is a research proposal. Basically, it is an overall plan, a scheme, and a structure, and also a strategy that you design to obtain answers to the research questions or problems that constitute your research project. So you are coming up with a plan, with a scheme, with a strategy that you are putting it close to ensure that you are going to obtain solution or the answers to the problem that you are trying to investigate. So in order to achieve this function, a research proposal must tell you, your research supervisor, and your reviewers the following information about your study. 1. What you are proposing to do. So what are you proposing to do? It must stand out in your proposal. Number 2, how you plan to find the answers to what you are proposing. What is your plan on how you are going to get the answers to what you are proposing to do? Number 3, why you should select the proposed strategies of investigation. So why did you select those strategies? You must give a justification, and it must come out very clearly so that your supervisor or your academic advisor, your reviewer, will get a clear picture on why you selected the tools or the methods that you want to use. So broadly, we're saying a research proposal main function is to detail the operational plan, to have a detailed operation plan for obtaining the answers to your research question. So it's just a very detailed plan on how you are going to obtain the answer to your research question. So for you to be able to craft a winning research proposal, so through my experience, the time that I've been in academic and also in the corporate world, I have identified at least 14 points that can help you to be able to have a winning proposal that will not attract any objection from your supervisors. So for it to be very specific, to be very unique, and to be very compelling, at least it must have these unique and specific qualities. Number 1, it should be clear and focused researched problem. So the specific quality in this point is that your proposal should identify a well-defined research problem that is very specific and narrow enough to be manageable. So don't bring a very broad problem that you cannot be able to manage. It should be very narrow and very specific. So the unique quality that should be there is that the problem addresses a gap in the existing knowledge. Okay? Or a real world issue that has not been sufficiently explored. Yet it can be explored, but it has not been sufficiently explored. So it should come out very clearly that problem gap in the existing knowledge or in the real world issue. It should come out very, very clearly. For example, we can have an example here, because this is academic work and this is how it should be. For example, we can have instead of having a very broad topic like this, that is the climate change in Kenya, you can have a very focused problem like the impact of deforestation on water scarcity in the Mau Forest Complex, Kenya. So it is very specific. So instead of looking at the climate change in Kenya, that is very broad. It is very now narrowed down, very specific, deforestation on water scarcity in Mau Forest Complex in Kenya. So that is point number 1. Point number 2, originality and innovation. So the specific quality we're looking here is that the proposal should demonstrate originality by exploring a new angle, a new context, or a new methodology. So it should demonstrate originality in terms of looking at it from a new angle, a new context, or bringing in a new methodology of doing your study. So now, the unique quality we are looking here is it should offer a fresh perspective or a challenging existing assumption in the field. So we should see a fresh perspective coming out. Or you are trying to challenge the existing assumptions that are being put across in the field by other scholars. So that's a unique quality that we expect to see in your research proposal. For example, we can have an example here, like a study on the role of indigenous knowledge in mitigating drought in arid and semi-arid lands in Kenya. So it's original because it incorporates traditional practices which are not yet studied in depth. So it brings that issue of originality because you're looking at indigenous knowledge in mitigating drought in arid and semi-arid lands in Kenya. So you see that originality and that unique quality we are talking about in point number 2. Point number 3 is a strong justification, or what we call significance. And I'm talking about strong because I'm looking at a very strong winning proposal that is unique and very specific and very innovative. So it should have a very strong justification. It should have enough empirical evidence to support what you're saying. And the specific quality we are looking at here is the proposal should clearly explain why the research matters. Should be very clear, explaining why the research matters in academic, in social, economic, or in practical significance. Should be very clear and well supported. Therefore, the unique quality we are looking here is that It should highlight how the research will contribute to solving a real world problem, all advancing knowledge in the field. So that is why you should focus in your area, so that you are able now to bring out a good contribution of your work in solving the real world problem, or trying to advance the knowledge in your area of specialization. So a strong justification is required to support what you intend to do in your proposal. We can have an example here. For example, a proposal on the impact of mobile banking on financial inclusion for women in rural Kenya. It is significant because it tries to address the gender inequality and economic empowerment. Because we're looking at the mobile banking on financial inclusion for women in rural Kenya. So it is very significant because it is trying to address the issue of gender inequality and how they contribute to economic empowerment for women. So point number 4, for you to be able to craft a winning research proposal, is you should have a well-defined research question or hypothesis. So your research question or hypothesis, they should stand out very clearly in support of your topic. And the specific quality that we are looking here is that the proposal include a very clear, concise, and answerable research questions or hypotheses. So sometimes I've seen students bringing out research questions that are not answerable. You cannot be able to answer them. So for you to have a very specific, innovative, and quality research proposal that will not attract any objection, your research questions or the hypothesis that you draft should be very clear, should be concise, and answerable research questions. And the unique quality that we are trying to address here is that the questions are thoughtful and provoking and designed to uncover new insight. I repeat it again, that the questions are thought-provoking and designed to uncover the new insights. So it's not just a question, but it should be crafted in such a way it will provoke the thoughts in trying to uncover the new insights, the new knowledge in whatever you are doing. For example, instead of having a very vague question like, how does education affect poverty? How does education affect poverty? It's very vague for a research proposal. So a specific question should be like, how does the free primary education policy in Kenya influence school dropout rates among the girls in informal settlements? You can be able to answer that, because when you say how does education affect poverty, is it answerable? Can you get the answer for that? Is it concise? Is it clear? No. So what are you looking at there? So it should be, how does the primary education policy in Kenya, looking at the policies of primary education, influences school dropout among the girls in informal sector? Very clear and an answerable question. Point number 5, comprehensive literature review. So, doing a literature review is one of the most difficult work in academia. It is one of the most tiresome. It requires a lot of time. So for you to do this, to have a comprehensive literature review, the specific quality that we are looking here and which your supervisor will be evaluating is that the proposal should include a thorough review of existing literature that are related to whatever you are doing, not any other literature. You should do a thorough review of existing literature to show familiarity with the field. That is the area that will demonstrate that you understand what you are doing and you understand your field. By going deep to the literature and coming up with the relevant literature in your area. And the unique quality that should be demonstrated here, it should identify the gaps and limitations. So it's not just a literature, but that literature that you are bringing out, it should come out and it should come up very clearly, showing us the gap and the limitations in previous studies. Bring out the contradictory literature, the literature that agree, the literature that goes against, and the literature that are neutral in relation to the study. So that one should come up very clearly. And these are the gaps or limitations that your study is proposing to address. So if in your literature review you just put literature there without demonstrating the gap and limitations in previous studies, then your proposal is prone to rejection by your supervisors or your academic advisors. For example, a literature review on youth unemployment in Kenya might review that most studies focused on urban areas, but leaving a gap for research on rural youth in counties like Turkana. So that is a very good gap and the limitation that is going to be demonstrated, that is being demonstrated by your literature. So much of the study, much of the work done focus on urban areas, but leaving a gap of literature on youth or the rural youth, and specifically maybe in counties like Turkana. So nobody will dispute that. Point number 6. Feasible and practical methodology. Maybe you're asking, how can methodology be feasible and practical? So the specific quality that your supervisor, your academic advisor, your reviewer will be looking at in your methodology, not how big it is, not how small it is, but the specific quality is that the proposal outlines a clear and detailed research design, including data collection and analysis method that you are going to use in uncovering the problem that you are going to address. So it should have a very clear and detailed research design. So not just any other research design that you decide to put in your work. It should be very clear that this is the research, this is the correct research design that I intend to use in my work. And therefore, the unique quality that will be evaluated in this area is that the methodology is innovative, or it should be tailored to the specific context of the study. So your methodology should demonstrate the element of innovation, or it should be tailored to the specific content of your study, contexts of your study, not just any other study, but you should tailor it to your work, not picking from other work, people's work, and just putting it there. It will not work. And you're putting yourself into a position where your work can be rejected. For example, we can have an example here. We're looking at the effectiveness of community-based health programs in reducing malaria in Western Kenya. So you're looking at the effectiveness of community-based programs or initiatives in trying to reduce malaria in Western Kenya. So such kind of study can use a mixed method approach, where you'll combine maybe surveys with focus group, because you need to interview these people who are carrying out the community-based health programs. You interview them, carrying surveys. So you see now this one would be based on the kind of the study you are carrying out. So it's not a bracket cover for all the studies. So point number seven, ethical consideration. So this is a big issue, especially in the professional, for those who are study in the profession, developing proposals for fundraising and others, and even in academic. The specific quality that your supervisor will be evaluating here is that the proposal should address the ethical issues, such as the informational consent. So did you get the permission to correct information? The confidentiality of those information and the data protection. So remembering we are in the era where the data is very important, information is very important. So the information you correct, where do you correct, by whose authority, and how do you intend to use them? Those are the questions. So the unique qualities that you'll be looking here is it should demonstrate sensitivity. The word here is demonstrate sensitivity to the cultural and social context of the research participant. So you should put that one into consideration. For example, a simple one, female genital mutilation in Kenya. So you are looking at FGM in Kenya. So the ethical consideration that should be looked at here is you're working with vulnerable population. So you need to obtain approval from the relevant authority, because to get this information, you need maybe to go to hospitals. You need to go to the community and interview them, survey. So you need to have an authority to be able to correct the data for FGM in Kenya. So that one must be demonstrated very clearly in your proposal. How did you address that? Is there an evidence of the ethical consideration? Is there a document you obtained that should be attached in your proposal, showing how you dealt with ethical consideration? Is there an approval? That one is very, very key and very, very important. Point number 8, realistic timeline and budget. So this might sound weird, but it's a key element in a proposal. Why? Because you will not do this research forever. It must have a timeline, and it involves resources. So the specific quality in this point is that the proposal should include a detailed timeline for completing each phase of the research. and realistic budget. Maybe you are carrying your research for a long duration of time and you have phases on how you collect the data, on how you analyze until you compile the last part and have the final document. So you should have a detailed timeline. After 1 year, after 6 months, after 2 months, this is what I will do. And this is the budget that I will use. Maybe you will have to look for research assistant to assist you in maybe correcting the data, conducting some interview, etc. So are you going to use them for free? They need to be paid. So the resources that you need must be clearly specified on how you use them. So therefore, this takes us to the unique quality that we need to see in your proposal, that the timeline and the budget are tailored to the specific context of the study. You can put any budget, but the budget we are looking here and the timeline, it should be tailored to the specific context of the study, considering the local challenges like accessibility and resources availability. So you should tailor your budget and your timelines within the framework of your study, considering the environment in which you will be working. For example, we can have an example here: a study to access to clean water in remote areas in Kenya. You are doing a study on how to access clean water in remote areas in Kenya. So this might include the budget for traveling to those hard-reach locations because it is rural areas, and the timeline account for seasonal weather challenges. During maybe the rain season, there is other things that can affect you not to go there. So you should put into consideration that in your timeline so that you know the lane will start this time, therefore I should do my study, I should correct my study within this timeline. And these are the resources that I need. Maybe there is a conflict there, so you must tailor your timeline and the budget within all according to the environment. Point number 9. This is very important. This is aligning with institution or the funding priorities. Every university and every institution has their own policy, has their own guide, has their own way on how this research should be carried out. So the specific quality here for you to be able to develop a very innovative, winning research proposal, it should align with the goals and priorities of the institution or the funding body. So you should be able to check, if it is a university, you should be able to check the guidelines for your university, because every university has their own guidelines. If it is a funding institution, you should be able to get the guidelines on how the proposal should be developed and the requirement of that institution. And therefore, the unique quality is that it should demonstrate how the research will add value to that institution or the funding body mission. So remember, when you're doing a research in a university, that university has a mission. Therefore, your proposal should be aligned within the mission of that institution. So it should demonstrate how that research you are doing is going to add value to that institution or to that body that is funding you to carry out that research. How are they going to benefit? For example, a proposal on renewable energy solution for rural electrification in Kenya. So this might align with the funding agency focus on sustainable development. So that is how you should be able to study the policy and the guidelines that are given by the institution. So your proposal should fall within those guidelines. If they don't follow those guidelines, then your supervisor will not be able to approve your proposal. Point number 10. Your proposal should demonstrate a strong writing and presentation skills. So this is why editing your proposal is key. Checking and looking at the language that you have used. So the specific quality here is the proposal should be well written, it should be clear, concise, and you must use a professional language that demonstrates your professional area that you are doing your work in. So you should be able to demonstrate how clear the language you have used should be concise, it should be error-free, it should not be biased, it should demonstrate a professional language. And the unique quality here, you can use visual aids like charts, graphs, maps to enhance understanding and engagement. So those are some of the most important things we use in your writing. You can use the charts, you can use the graphs, you can use the map, just to be able to demonstrate and make it people who are going to use your research to understand and become very much engaged. Like a proposal on urbanization and traffic congestion in Nairobi. So this might include showing traffic hotspots, graphs illustrating population growth trends, so that the population growth trends will give us a picture of how the traffic congestion is coming to Kenya, is manifested in Nairobi. So that is how you should be able to use the correct writing skills and presentation of your work in your document. Point number 11. Your proposal should demonstrate the researcher competence. So by going through the proposal, the supervisor or your research advisor or your reviewer is able to see how you demonstrate your competence in your writing, in your presentation, in your organization of your work. So the specific quality here, the proposal should highlight the researcher's qualification, experience, and skills relevant to the study. If you are doing a funding proposal, you should be able to see your qualification. You should be able to see the experience and the skills relevant to your study. And this should be also demonstrated in academic, so that the way a master's student demonstrates how he can do a research is very different from undergraduate student, that he has gone through undergraduate and now he's doing a master's. So this social should be demonstrated by those who are doing a PhD or doctoral studies, that the proposal that you're putting across aligns with your qualification, align with your level of your study. That is key, so that a person in a PhD or doing a doctoral studies is not presenting a proposal that undergraduate student is supposed to present. And the unique quality we are looking here is that it showcases the researcher's unique expertise or access to resources that make them particularly suitable to conduct the study. So this is where we see those unique qualities, the unique expertise that the researcher is demonstrating on how he is able to access the resources that are suitable for his study. For example, a researcher proposing a study on indigenous languages in Kenya might highlight the influence in multiple languages and experience working with marginalized communities. Whatever area you are in, we should be able to demonstrate the competency you have in that area. And that competency should be shown by what you are demonstrating. So if you're undergraduate, then we expect your expertise to be within that level. If you're in master level, we expect to see a proposal within that level. If you're in a doctorate, then we expect to see a proposal that is within that level and demonstrating your unique expertise in that specific area of specialization. So point number 11, potential for impact. Very interesting. Potential for impact. So what does this mean? So the specific quality here, we are saying the proposal outline how the researcher findings will be disseminated and applied. So you must be able to demonstrate to us how are you going to disseminate this information and the impact it is going to have, whether into the academia, whether into the society, whether economical, society, whatever area. So the unique quality here, it should include a plan for engaging stakeholders. For example, if you are preparing a funding proposal or a proposal looking for the funds or a proposal or to start a project, even in NGO area. So these are unique elements that I'm looking at here that cut across all the proposals. So you should have a plan on how you are going to engage your stakeholders. For example, the policy makers and communities, to ensure the research has a real world impact. So remember, even if you have done academic research proposal, you can translate that academic proposal to a funding proposal where you'll be looking for funds to implement that proposal or to solve that problem that you are looking when you are doing your academic work. And it is possible. So that plan should be there. It should bring that impact that is going to bring to the society or to policymaker. For example, if you are looking at the impact of climate smart agriculture in Kenya, so this might include a plan to share findings with the Ministry of Agriculture and local farming cooperatives for implementation. It's very, very important, because in most of the time we don't do research just for the sake. It is to have an impact in our society and in our community. So point number 13, flexibility and adaptability. How flexible are you and how adaptable are you in presenting your work? So the specific quality that you'll be looking here is that the proposal should acknowledge the potential challenges and outline the contingency plans. So in most of the cases in academia, we put this one in under limitations. And sometimes we are told to demonstrate how you dealt with these limitations. That is exactly what I'm talking about here. So whether you're in academia, whether you are in a professional, you're doing a proposal for looking for the money for funding for other project, you will meet challenges, you will meet limitations. So how are you going to deal with them? And how many challenges did you meet? And how are you intending to deal with them? So it should be very, very clear, demonstrated in your work. And the unique quality here, it should demonstrate the researcher's ability to adapt to the changing circumstances without compromising the quality and the integrity of your work. Because you might meet challenges, and because you don't want to face these challenges, you might decide to deviate from what you are supposed to do, and you compromise your integrity, you compromise the quality even of your proposal, of your work that you intend to do. So that should be demonstrated very clearly in your work, that these are the limitations that I met, and this is how I intend to deal with them. For example, a proposal on education in refugee camps in Kenya. You want to do a study on education refugees in Kenya. So this might include plan for alternative data collection methods if access to the camp is restricted. So if you cannot be able to access the camps and get the data, so how will you collect this data? What alternative plans do you have to get this data? Like you can say you will get this data maybe from the Ministry of Education in that area, etc. So you must be flexible enough. You must demonstrate that flexibility and adaptability of your work. Point number 14, very key: passion and commitment. Passion and commitment. So for you to craft a winning research proposal, the specific quality that must be demonstrated in this work or in your work, the proposal should convey the researcher's genuine interests and commitment to the topic. So it should demonstrate that you understand and you have passion in continuing to do that work. So you should propose, because you're writing a proposal, we should see that proposal, commitment, and the passion toward the topic. So it's not just the topic you want to cover, if it is academia, and then you graduate, but it should be a topic that demonstrates a genuine interest in it and a commitment to it, so that the unique quality that your supervisor should be looking here, it should reflect the researcher's personal connection to the study. So how are you connected to that study? So that it does not occur that you are in HR and you have selected a topics in economics. So there is a very big disconnect. It will not even demonstrate the passion and even commitment. You are just doing it for the sake. So it should reflect the researcher's personal connection to the study, such as the lived experience or the long-term interest in the subject. Maybe you have been in the field for long, you have been working for long, and now you've come back for the study. So you should select a topic that you have a genuine interest in it, and you have experience, and there is something that you want to uncover from it. For example, a researcher proposing a study on mental health among university students in Kenya. So you might share their own experience or observation that inspire the researcher, because you have been in the university, and therefore if you are looking on the issues to do with mental health among the students in the university in Kenya, then it might demonstrate that you have some experience, your own experience and observations in that area. So finally, my viewers, by incorporating these specific and unique qualities in your research proposal, it will actually stand out, and it will have been well planned, impactful, and compelling, and it is going to increase your chances for success. So these are very important qualities that must be demonstrated very clearly in your research work, and they are going to help your study supervisor or your academic advisor, your university professor, or your reviewer, or your funding agency to approve your proposal. So if this video you have found it to be very helpful to you, to have impacted your knowledge on how you should craft a winning research proposal, don't fail to give it a thumb up. Share with your friends who might be interested in the area of research, which are cut across all the areas of specialization and all the fields. And please don't forget to subscribe. And more tips is coming on research and academic. in various areas. So until next time, thank you.